Welcome to the Moonbase podcast. This is Moonrider, and today we're going to talk about 13 Sentinels Aegis Rim. This is a JRPG that I've been hearing about for a bit. It has insanely high reviews over the last 3 years on the PlayStation Store, so I figured I'll give it a shot. And right now I'm currently 50% of the way through the game, and I'll give you a little bit of an overview. And not too many spoilers, but part of that is because I'm confused myself with what is happening in this game. But I'm definitely going to give you my recommendations about it and just a brief overview of it. In this JRPG, it's more like a visual novel, is what I've noticed. And then it has some tactical JRPG elements where you're controlling what are these Sentinels in a battle with other robots, presumably aliens from outer space, or some sort of other civilization maybe that's invading Earth. Either way, they just call them the invaders. And so you go back and forth between these two gameplay modes. One is a sort of slice of life of what happens maybe leading up to the event or after the event. It jumps around in time. And again, there's going to be some slight spoilers to the game, but I figure in the first few minutes, someone says, "Are you a time traveler?" in the second or third line of the game. So I figure it's not too much of a spoiler to say that there is time travel in this game. And but it's a very uniquely told game with 13 Sentinels. And there's certainly more than 13 Sentinels, but basically there are 13 characters in this game that you experience the different scenarios through as they hop through time. What I love about this game is if you look at it chronologically, it wouldn't make sense. There's characters just hopping in and out of the scenes, and it makes no sense. So it only makes sense to understand each of the characters' experience of the story chronologically. That is from the viewpoint of themselves, not chronologically from the time perspective of which they're jumping. So if someone jumps from the 80s to the 2000s to back to the 1940s, back to the 2010s, and then to the 2100s, you see that there's a line of that consciousness of them jumping through it. And that's how you experience it. You kind of hop on, the way I look at it is you hop on the shoulder of one of them metaphorically and kind of experience the story through their eyes. And it's fun because you get to see how these different characters' stories interact. I think there's 12 or 13 of them, and you really get to see the interweaving of their stories. But one thing that I'm going to stress is you're going to love this game if you're a science fiction fan. This game seems to be I don't want to say a swan song, but it's definitely a love note or a love story to every single science fiction story that's ever been written. So you have references to things like E.T., Terminator, War of the Worlds. They even quote directly from H.G. Wells in the game. You have things like consciousness swapping, unreliable narrators that have memory loss. You have concerns about cyborgs and AI and self-replicating AI. Time travel, I've already mentioned. Kaiju, giant monsters and robots, mech fighting. So there's so many elements of science fiction. This would be a science fiction horror, but it is a bit more of a science fiction one. And it even has elements of fantasy a little bit. But one line that stands out to me, and it's said by this small cat that only some people can see and sometimes talks, is that someone says, "Is this magic? Is there magic in this world?" And he said, "The difference between," and I think this is a Clarke quote. If you look at the ABCs of science fiction, you have Arthur Bradbury, Asimov, Bradbury, and Clarke, or Arthur C. Clarke, I think. And he says, the difference between magic and some high tech science fiction from hundreds of years into the future, perceptibly there is no difference between magic. If you brought a flamethrower maybe back to the Middle Ages, they would have thought it was magic. And this game really plays upon that. And it's very imaginative in how it deals with tech and science fiction, colonization of other planets, consciousness swapping, memory implanting, government conspiracies. They have Men in Black references, as well as references to almost any science fiction movie you can think of. E.T., Aliens, it's all in there. And it's this beautifully complex story. And I'm hoping that it wraps up really well. I'm halfway through it, and I'm still very confused. And I'm excited to share this with you, and you can always hop on to my Let's Play on YouTube to view it and see me live on Twitch. But thank you so much, and I'm just giving this a very strong, 9.5 out of 10. So go out there and give it a try for yourself if you're on the Switch or PlayStation 4 or 5.